In this video, we work on the upper shock mounts, winch mount, figuring out extending the front of the chassis to turn into an eventual front bumper, as well as turning this Ultra 4 chassis into a Jeep. Follow along. First support tube coming on up. Very tricky to figure out. Basically, when the coilover is here, the hose for the reservoir is going to go straight in, and I don't want to change hoses. So theoretically, one reservoir will be on this side of the tube, the other one will cross over and be on this side of the tube. Something like that. Should be pretty neat and good looking. But you got to be careful where you stick tubes off of this whole thing, you know, because it's all going to get crowded in a hurry. But brought this kicker tube down, 1 3/4 120 wall DOM. Now I did not put it in the junction here. I put it right up on this tube. Massively supported. There's no way that's coming off. But anyway, I did that because if you look down here, if I brought this tube down just half a tube's width, you know, down 3/4 of an inch, let's say, then you can no longer get the spark plug out. But where it's at now, you can. So trying to think ahead of some potential disasters. So now to do it on the other side. I'm here at the heavy metal hour. I no longer tell time by the clock when I'm in the garage. I just tell the time by how heavy metal my music has to get to keep me rolling. But basically, we've got our shock mounts here. We've got tube kicking down. You saw that earlier. Now we have the one on the other side. And I spent a lot of time trying to get this bar parallel to this bar, and get the shocks there, the shock length just right, which means the axle has to be parallel. All very fiddly here, but it's coming together. So I'm next going to work on this tube to this tube, which will help hold these dimensions together. I'll mirror it on that side, and then just, you know, build the rest of the car. Car's starting to look like something up here. Tubes in there. Gonna be good and strong. Welded the front of the truss bridge, whatever we want to call this thing, link tower. And this is what I have in mind for the ram mount. Holes drilled so I can get some weld on the face and for a little bit of style points. But basically, this allows me to move the ram up the 2.5 inches. It's really 2 3/8 inches to move the heims from inside of that knuckle to on top of it. Which the ram used to be this low because this whole system was built to have a double-ended ram plus a drag link. But saying goodbye to the drag link, so I can move the ram up further out of harm's way. Ram mount bridge tied to the top truss, welded across the front. Should not be any deflection. So next is going to be preparing the legs and getting the ram up here. I got to figure out how exactly I'm going to hold that by myself, but that'll be all right. Get it all lined up. And then after that, I'll do a bit of a ramp skid, which I have the one that used to be on it that I think I'll hopefully be able to repurpose, but we'll see. Coming together kind of neat. Ram mount's looking good. It's matching the side to side of where it used to be. Now just higher. I'm gonna take the clamp off and burn on the mounts. Bam! I'm laying out the front of the car, and I want to do steps that are going forward and not backwards. And I got some ideas on where the winch is going to go, but basically the grill needs to go where it needs to go. The hood lays back here. It's a little wider than the body, but it's honestly closer than I was expecting. I'm kind of pumped on that. I cut the support structure out of here and notched these on both sides. My vision might be this is the TJ hood, but maybe someday I'll find a fresh red one, which I've always wanted to do ever since I've pummeled this one into oblivion, but looks pretty crazy. So got the winch out of there, gonna get the grill structure off, pull the intake. There's a bunch of stuff attached to it in the TJ that's not gonna be anymore. So I'll start working on that. And if you don't know how to hold the hood when you're by yourself, the light is doing the trick. Worked the front of the frame here. None of this stuff's finished, but basically put a kick down on it to where I want the bottom and the front of the car to be. That's essentially going to be, you know, the base of the front bumper, which hopefully never hits anything. And I'm working on putting the winch where I wanted it to be, which I'm hoping leaves me just enough room to get an elbow off the throttle body, cram an air cleaner in here, or on the other side. I don't know where yet, or maybe right in here somewhere. But basically 2 tabs here, spread 10 inches, which is what the 8274 needs. Fair lead. And then up here, I spent just a ridiculous amount of time. These are just a stupid way to do this, but I don't have a plasma cutter, so I couldn't make the whole thing out of plate. Plus plate's ugly and heavy, so. This is 1.75" 090 DOM. This is 1.5" 090 DOM. I like that it gives me lots of access to the rope. And then my vision is that this is gonna get tied down somewhere into here. So that will tie it all together. I don't know, it's a little funky, but I like the winch is clocked back a little bit. It's low, lower than the bar going across. It's not gonna obstruct any views. And again, keeping that center of gravity low. Back here so far, it's protected. I can build a whole kind of crash structure here that's not gonna be anywhere near folding the winch up if I were to hit somebody or some wall or something like that. The other thing I wanted with this configuration is, get rid of this plate, is that this would work as a good suck down winch, which it now will. Rope would come out right here, pivot out of the fair lead, which I don't know that I'm even gonna run a fair lead here. Well, yeah, I guess it'll stop it going sideways, but fair lead over this nice smooth tube, and I can put a tie down on the axle, so it'll be a dead perfect straight pull if it were to do some suck down winching. Winch is mounted. On to the next thing. Added 2 tabs for this. We have grill, we have hood. What we have, ladies and gentlemen, is a Jeep TJ. I haven't decided exactly how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna make a pass-through in the grill, and then there'll be a second winch fair lead out here. So if I just wanna use it as a suck down winch, it'll just stay inside there. And then when I want it to come out and be full service winch, it'll have an outer fair lead here. And part of the vision is that the whole body will be removable. There's 2 hood pins here on the grill. I'll have to make grill supports at the top besides just the tabs mounting them on the bottom, but there's gonna get hood pins up at the top going across the dash bar. View from back here, pretty sweet. Obviously this hood's seen better days, so maybe someday I'll get a fresh one. But basically from the driver's seat, that's the view. Now the visibility is a lot better than a TJ because normally there's a cowl, dashboard, and windshield up here. I'm rid of all that stuff, so I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. Take a break from the front end, start moving and mounting seats. I wanna get them out of, got one out there that keeps getting rained on, and I got one in here that's taking up too much space. So if I can get them in the car, that'd be nice. So, as per my original plans, cross tube goes across there. Square up the whole base of the car. And then this is 1.25" angle iron. I don't remember what thickness it is, but ample. And the idea is that the seats are gonna ride on the angle iron. And essentially I could drill a couple of different mounting locations. So I'll figure out where I think I wanna be. But if it turns out to be wrong, or if one day the girls want to drive or something and I want to scoot it forward, I'll have a little bit of room to do that. And I did that one on the outside. I'm going to make the angle iron here on the inside, but I got some ideas there because I'm contemplating making the center of this tube removable so the transmission could come straight up and out if I wanted it to. So I'll report back to you on that one. All right, 2 seat mounts are in. I've thought about cutting this section of the angle iron out on both of these inside ones so the transfer case would come straight up, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that. What I'm thinking is I can use tube coupler like that and coupler in between the 2 mounts here, and that will give me just enough space to pull the transmission back from the motor and lift it straight up if I needed to. And then if I'm doing that, the transfer case can just be disconnected and transmission could go up. Transfer case can then slide forward, whoosh, come out of the same slot. So I need to figure out what to do for the rest of the floor structure that is removable, ideally, and see where we go from there. Doing front end stuff. I need to figure out what I'm doing for the other side of the shock mount. And tubes coming down in here, but there's a lot to think about here. Can you fit your air cleaner? Where's your orbital gonna go? How's the front bumper gonna work? Et cetera, et cetera. But this part I knew needed to happen. This is getting couplered so that the motor can come further forward when it's being removed. So what I like to do is I start these cuts with an angle grinder because I can get them lined up straight. And then I take the Sawzall and chop them because the Sawzall will just follow whatever angle you did. So happy with that. I'll clean these up, stick the couplers in one end, and then this tube going across will get shortened to fit in between. Time to burn it in. All right, made another capped tube end. These were the best two yet. I used a smaller, basically I'm using the cutout from a hole saw. So this was 3/16 plate with an 1.5-inch hole saw, which actually made it to where it had to been an 1.75-inch hole saw. But anyway, it left me a lot of room to get to put the weld in there. So it was a little tricky to line up, but once I did it, welded way better than the other ones. Did not have to grind the welds off a whole bunch. Just clean the edge up real nice, but gonna work on tying something like here down to there is my idea. So I'll do that. It would be cool to do a crossbar here and then tie it into here and then make this whole section removable, but I wanted to be able to connect this down to the front of the frame here. So coming together. Tube coming down, picks up that weld joint there, and then this will probably get capped on the bottom. But once I get the bump stop going, I'll figure out how I want to put all that together. But trying to put as few tubes forward of the winch as possible. There'll be a little bumper there that's bushing mounted, and see what I think of that. But now to make this one for the other side and keep on rolling. Finish off the video here. How cool is that? I just like the view of having the winch hit in there. Dimensions of the Jeep grill, once the rounded Jeep hood is there, and then the roof line being shrunk and quite a bit different style. I don't know, I just really dig it.